little bit.
This game also part of the WNBA Commissioner's Cup. It's the first game. Fever now 1-0. The top two teams, one from the east, one from the west, will meet in the title game as an early steal by Hull, the turnover by Chicago, and Sydney Colson will initiate the Fever offense. Aaliyah Boston, 17 of her last 20 in the three-game absence for Caitlin Clark, leads the league in field goal percentage. It shows you right there.
The intentionality to get Aaliyah Boston the basketball tonight is super important for the Fever.
Ariel Atkins had that 26-point performance against the Wings, gets her own miss defended by Hull. 12 on the shot clock. Cardoso tries to get it down low, but they're going to whistle a foul there on Natasha Howard as she was trying to deny the pass. And there we have ice, Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark that might be acting as assistant coaches tonight.
Yeah, their voices certainly were active earlier when we were watching shoot around, and it's tough to have both of them out, but the bright side is that it's early in the season. These are precious moments for other players to figure out how to play and how to win games without those two critical pieces.
Vandersloot off the re-screen, scoots to the cup and gets the first two for the Sky.
Yeah, Vandersloot known for her passing ability. But for the Sky, Tyler Marsh wants her to be aggressive and look to score off of ball screen action when she can.
Colson off the dribble, handoff, gets another screen from Howard, flips it over to Hull, goes right between her legs, able to save it as Nurse defends. 6 to shoot, Hull, Chicago switching on defense. Howard has to do something with it, pump fake, tough shot, drops in.
Great awareness by Natasha Howard. Nice quick catch, turn, and then just got that ball up on the rim.
Atkins, the runner in the lane. It's short, rebound to Boston. Indiana talked about looking to attack and transition any opportunity they have.
Yeah, pace is the name of their game. They want to get up the floor as quick as possible, look to get a high percentage look early. If not, they're going to run their offense.
Howard on the baseline, picks up the dribble. Boston now 4 to shoot. Over to Colson, has to go for 3. Colson buries it, and an early onslaught from the Fever offense.
I'm going to say, if you're the Sky, that's the shot that you want to give up. Sydney Colson shooting an outside shot.
Nurse pops free. Cardoso down low, defended by Boston. Double team comes in late. Cardoso goes a little window shopping for 2.
Really nice patience on the block. You mentioned the double team. Interested to see how often the Sky will look to double Cardoso on the block.
Mitchell dancing, tries to flip a pass to Boston, turned over. Reese in the open court, open runway, and she gets the easy lay-in. Angel Reese, a season-high 14 points in that victory over Dallas. Was a double-double machine last year. Hull stepping through, no good. Reese with the board. Cardoso running the lane, saves it. Great ball movement here by the Sky. Nurse can't hit it, though.
Yeah, I echo the sentiments about ball movement, especially just getting the ball up the floor and being able to play along the baseline. A lot of contact there between Angel Reese and Aaliyah Boston early.
First foul on Reese. That was an off-ball foul, trying to fight for positioning. Atkins gets a hand on it, knocks it out of bounds. 17 to shoot for the Fever. And if you look at what Indiana's been trying to do in the three-game absence of Caitlin Clark, obviously she leads the league in assists, and that changes the whole look of the offense. But surprisingly, Ice, the numbers aren't too different. The biggest difference, 13 fewer field goal attempts per game for the Fever.
Yeah, they're getting less shots, and we know Caitlin Clark has so much to do with this offense, whether she's pushing the pace, facilitating, scoring, but a mental mistake there for the Sky, and his backcourt is called.
Atkins was trailing and didn't cross the midline before she caught it, so an unforced turnover, and those are the type of mistakes when we talk to Tyler Marsh that this team is still working through, and they've had 6 days off since their last game, and rhythm versus rest, that's the argument. What do you prefer as a coach?
Well, it's so early in the season that I don't mind having those days off, right? It acts as kind of an additional mini training camp, so to speak, that you can get your players in the gym, practice for 5 or 6 days, and start to work on putting some of those pieces together.
Ball tapped out of bounds. Indiana ball. Let's take a look at tonight. Leads the league as Mitchell pops free down low. Gets the easy lay-in.
A really nice baseline out of bounds execution.
Vandersloot in and out, dribble lost. Colson Reeves to the rim, can't get it. Cardoso comes over, crashes to the floor, and picks up the foul.
What a nifty little dribble from Courtney Vandersloot to shake the defense, and then she drops off the...
Cardoso, third overall pick in 2024, and part of this young core for the Sky is first substitution of the game for Indiana. Ari McDonald, the Arizona Wildcat, signed to a hardship deal on Sunday as part of the injuries for the Fever as Hull rips down the rebound.
And I'm not sure the Fever could have gotten a better hardship contract to get than Ari McDonald. She fits their style, their presence. But the defense for Chicago picking up, getting some deflections.
Atkins, some very active hands in the early going. You've already seen Chicago force a handful of turnovers. Now it's Vandersloot initiating the offense. Recently became the Sky's all-time leading scorer, and this time she goes down and she is holding her knee. And that is not a good look at all as her teammates quickly surround her. Foul was called on the play, but all focus now goes to Courtney. Elizabeth Williams on the season shooting 56%, her 10th year. Misses the first. Haley Van Lith checking in for Chicago. Okay, she was helped off the court, not putting any weight on that right leg. But Williams able to split a pair of free throws and trim the lead to 2.
So tough to see that for Courtney Vandersloot, and certainly hope she's okay. But both teams facing a little bit of adversity, having certain players out or not at full capacity.
McDonald, a huge triple in the corner, and some early dividends from the Fever bench.
Again, she fits into this system so perfectly with her pace, her ability to shoot the three, and then her high motor. Watch her defensively. She's a pest. She does not relax.
She mentioned just in survival mode right now on this hardship contract, trying to show some good game film to other teams. Atkins, long three, checks up in the rim, hole with the board.
And that was well defended by Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard. Just getting a hand up, contesting all of Atkins' shots.
Mitchell, patient in the corner, flips it up top. Boston, other side. McDonald, another three. I'm loving it. Back-to-back triples for Ari McDonald, and the lead is now 8 for Indiana.
And tremendous ball movement for the Fever. That skip pass. They were looking inside at the mismatch for Howard and left too much space for McDonald.
Reese posting up, couple of pivots, short on the attempt, rebound to Howard.
Here's the pace that Kelsey Mitchell wants to play with.
Mitchell off the Boston screen, loses Atkins, step back midi, knocks it down.
Oh, that's nasty work from Kelsey Mitchell. The separation on the step back.
Fever with their largest lead of the game at 10. Atkins throws it, bounces right into our laps. And that'll be Indiana ball. DeWanna Bond.
Range game sometimes becomes a lost art with statistics and loving the three. But when you can get to it anytime you want, when you can pull up on a dime, it is so effective.
We talked to Austin Kelly about Mitchell's game. He said, she's a hooper, and I've just got to let her hoop sometimes. She just needs minor adjustments here or there. And to your point, you find an open shot, you take it, you have the confidence to hit it.
And one of the best scorers in all of women's college basketball is Kelsey Mitchell.
Rebecca Allen, nice take with the left hand as the Aussie checks in.
And this kind of second unit sometimes for Chicago includes Beck Allen, but the veteran coming off the bench just has a great feel for the game.
Chicago leads the league in bench scoring. Mitchell hacked as she goes to the rim. And that foul is going to be on Cardoso, her first personal. And so far, you've seen the ball movement and player movement for Indiana. And Lexi Hull said something interesting with, we've got to create our own opportunities. And the offense starts to move a little bit longer. We go deeper into that shot clock.
Getting ball reversal. We know Caitlin Clark likes to shoot early in the shot clock sometimes, but getting deeper into the clock, making sure that they're getting the ball from one side to the other. And then paint touches. Can't highlight enough how many times Kelsey Mitchell was talking to us earlier about their offense, and she said touching the paint, putting pressure on the paint, getting a piece of the paint.
Mitchell hits them both, the two-time All-Star. Had 24 points in their last victory, and then this time a foul against WNBA, who checks in. The illegal screen, so hard to do sometimes when you're trying to free up some space for your teammate. The discipline to stay still.
It was a quick action, a pitch, and then Hailey Van Lith wanted to come back off the screen, and WNBA just not set in her position. And that's another one.
Foul against Boston.
Yeah. I think it was a bit of a hip check. Out of foul trouble. They cannot afford to have her off the floor for significant minutes.
Did you ever feel as a guard, you got to wait for the screen to be set? There's some patience on your part there.
Oh, let me tell you, every coach in America blames that's being built, right? Hailey Van Lith looking to go back door. Just a miscommunication.
Mitchell, the drive and kick. This time that pass sails out of bounds, but Austin Kelly wants to see more of that. Defense collapsing and kicking it out. Atkins been rather quiet in the early going. Lifts out. Mitchell with the board.
Well, she's been getting those looks around the logo area, those floater options, just can't get it to go.
Oh, the backdoor cut blocked by Allen, was all over it.
Beck Allen, 6'2", long arms, is a good defender.
Cardoso trying to get open. Atkins sets a mean screen. The fever switch. Allen thought about the shot. A lot of traffic in the paint. Allen, fadeaway jumper, sticks it.
Beck Allen makes tough shots. And again, it's because of her size that normally the guards that are guarding her are smaller because she's 6'2" and she's long.
Hull, another baseline cut. This time retreats the dribble back out to Boston. McDonald, 10 to shoot. Van Lith defending. Boston, prime positioning down low. Flips a pass to Bonner, can't handle it. And that'll be Chicago ball.
And I don't really love that pass because I think Aaliyah Boston.
Field goal attempts in this game so far. She was just 5 of 5 in their last game. You want to see more Aaliyah Boston.
She should shoot 5 shots probably every quarter. She's shooting 67% from the field. Cardoso
down low, moving furniture, draws the foul and nearly got the and one opportunity, but will head to the line once more. A doubleheader on Ion, Chicago at Atlanta, Dallas at Las Vegas. For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Damaris Dantas will check in for the Fever, replacing Lexi Hull, who picked up her second foul. But Camila Cardoso, you look at the post presence for Chicago. They started the season off 0 of 4, struggling with some of the outside shooting, but they've really credited the efficiency of their post players in those back-to-back wins against Dallas.
Again, just the way Aaliyah Boston shoots the ball, but Dantas as well. She makes smart decisions, a very mature player. Then Natasha Howard, a WNBA vet. Oh, good shot fake by Aaliyah Boston. She might have shuffled her feet. Yeah, they called it. Camila Cardoso was on it, huh? She's like, I've seen that in practice before.
All she needed was a whistle at that point. So the turnover by Boston.
Yeah, just a quick shuffle.
Donald with the steal in the inbound, wrapped up by Van Lith, and that's going to be a jump ball. So a heads-up play by McDonald, who on the hardship contract. Pair of twos for the jump ball here. That's going to be won by Chicago. Nurse sprinting ahead. Nurse can't get the lay-in. Bonner rips it down, and now she'll push the break. DeWanna Bonner, in her 15th season, can still move, and how about the finish from Mitchell?
And she may be the quickest guard in the league with the ball in her hands. Cannot stop her getting downhill. And with Kelsey Mitchell, you have to show multiple bodies. You can't just have one defender. She needs to see multiple bodies on her driving lane to stop.
6-second differential between shot and game clock. Allen flips it down low off the rim to Bonner. The Fever will have one more chance here. Dantas, 5 to shoot. Boston over to Bonner. Bonner, pump fake. Bonner tries to get it up before the horn. Bounces out, but Indiana will take an 8-point lead.
Marsh highlighted to us earlier as a key to the game is that they need to be spaced on the floor so that way they can attack gaps, create advantages, and find open shooters on the outside. You haven't seen a lot of threes either because they haven't been able to attack those gaps and force rotations. Looking to see if Hailey Van Lith can get them going a little bit. She's a player that can get a piece of the paint and attack and then look to facilitate. But that's our role right now with Courtney Vandersloot out.
Allen, a long three. knocks it down, and Allen with 7 early points.
That spark off the bench. Ariel Atkins says the bench has been phenomenal for Chicago this season. One of the main reasons, the veteran leadership of Beck Allen, Rachel Banham, Elizabeth Williams, the unit you're seeing right now on the floor.
Allen was just 2 for her last 12 in her 3 previous games against Indiana from beyond the arc. Hull fading away, rims out, another rebound for Reese. This time rips it away and draws the foul on Dantas. Well, for an update on Courtney Vandersloot, we send it down to Tiffany.
Guys, we saw her go down with the right knee injury. Couldn't put any weight on it as she was helped off the court. She is out for the rest of this game dealing with that knee injury.
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Just a really difficult loss on the floor, and the leadership and the presence for Chicago. And now the Sky have to rally, facing some adversity here.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to play without a 15-year veteran point guard in Courtney Vandersloot, and you're seeing it right here. Sydney Colson picks the pocket of Van Lift.
Colson, patient, Hull streaking down the floor, flips a pass, nice catch by Bonner. Bonner weaves her way to the cup, can't get it. Beck Allen with the board. Allen kicks it down low. Williams fighting through traffic, can't get it. Ball is tied up, and we'll have a jump ball. Well, let's test your knowledge with tonight's app.
That's because the answer is one of my favorite competitors of all time.
There was no hesitation as well, too. Just confident as the tip is won by the Sky. Rachel Banham back on the floor. That pass deflected, trying to get it to Reese. Howard running the break, and a little miscommunication there with Bonner.
Yeah. It didn't seem like Bonner was even looking for the basketball there. Howard maybe just needed to probe a bit, give it a second, and then make a decision.
And a reminder that Austin Kelly filling in as the interim coach tonight. Stephanie White out for personal reasons. Kelly been an assistant with White at Connecticut over the last couple of years. Brings plenty of experience onto the floor, but Indiana trying to do it without Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham and their head coach as Van Lift can't get the lay-in. Colson running ahead, nearly loses the dribble. Hull curling, stepping, 1-2, tough take, and picks up the foul.
Such a tough bucket here.
For one free throw. And Hull had all 14 of her points last game in the second half and has been relied upon for so much on both ends of the floor as she adds some tip to the bill. And for more on Coach Kelly and this opportunity tonight, Tiffany, what do you got for us?
Yeah, guys, we got to talk with Lexi Hull about this, and she said that they have so much faith in our coaches that she said any one of them could lead this team, that they all contribute day in and day out, and that's why they put them in position to be able to handle this without Coach Stephanie White here with them, but they know they are in good hands.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. And you felt during the shoot-around things were very loose and relaxed with the squad. Obviously, a lot of pressure with the absences, and this being a huge stage tonight for the Fever. And, you know, you go to the other side of things for Chicago, and they deal with the injury to Vandersloot early on. But Beck Allen, how sensational she been in the early going.
Man, she's so good. Just a tremendous, versatile player. She doesn't just shoot the three, doesn't just shoot the mid-range, but also can get to the paint. And just a good decision maker, which is really what Chicago needs. Tell you what else they need, Ariel Atkins to find it.
Atkins now 0 for 5. Howard galloping down the floor, can't get it. Steps out of bounds and still has a foot on the baseline as she touches the rock.
And immediately Austin Kelly looks to Sydney Colson and gives her a good head nod.
But the opportunities have been there in transition for the Fever, and you see that they are looking to step on the gas just a little bit more. For Chicago, it comes down to the half-court execution right now. Struggling to find some good looks as Williams, though, this time, tough take, rewarded with the foul.
I love that. Elizabeth Williams is a great roller. She keeps her eyes on the ball, has very good hands. And when Ariel Atkins may be struggling to find her own shot, that is where she can pick it up a bit in facilitating and finding some easier offense, easier looks.
Second foul on Natasha Howard. Well, live CBS tomorrow. It's Broadway's biggest night, and CBS is your front row seats. Cynthia Erivo hosts the Tony Awards live tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Right now, the biggest show in town here is this game between Indiana and Chicago. First ever WNBA game at the United Center, the largest arena in the country. People were wondering, what was the crowd going to be without Caitlin Clark playing? They did not disappoint here so far.
Yeah, it's a packed house. I can take off my jacket. Got hot here quickly.
Howard, bothered down low. Doesn't affect her. She gets the lefty hook.
And so tough. Tasha Howard, great at finishing with both hands. She has such a soft touch.
Chicago now just 6 of 18 from the field. Reese getting to the block, picks up the dribble. Williams comes over. Reese trying to repost. To your point,
spacing.
A lot of congestion right now. And a timeout Chicago, because I feel Tyler Marsh feels the same way. So the Sky.
Man, Tamika Catchings. It was good times watching her hoop.
What made her such a great defender?
Oh, she's like tenacious, athletic. She anticipates well. Good bucket there from Elizabeth Williams. She's providing a much-needed spark off the bench as well.
Williams now with 4 points. Tenacious and athletic on that finish as well. And now Indiana in this offense, they've got 9 assists already in this first half. That's what they talked about, sharing the ball more.
Chicago right now offensively. I'm attacking Lexi Hull. She's got 2 fouls.
Bonner at the free throw line. Shot clock winding down, and Indiana did not have that sense of urgency that they needed. That's a turnover right back to the Sky.
Did Aaliyah Boston get a touch on that possession?
I don't believe so. And Boston, to your point, just 1 shot attempt. Nearly 15 minutes into this game now. That's going to be a foul off the ball. Bonner chasing Allen. So Allen continues to produce off the bench. And to your point, though, and we talked to Austin Kelly. He said, we've got to get the ball to Aaliyah Boston more often. She had the first bucket of the game, has not shot it since then.
And for those tuning in, she normally gets 60, maybe 70% of her buckets off her and Caitlin Clark action, off just a 2-man game, a short roll, or getting to the basket. So without Caitlin Clark on the court right now, it seems like there's no one that's intentionally trying to make sure that AB is involved in getting a touch.
Mitchell short on the 3. Howard the offensive rebound, recoups it for the Fever. Howard trying to muscle it down low, lowers the shoulder, popcorns in for 2 more.
Howard just being bigger than Beck Allen. Nice finish in the paint.
Howard now 6 points, 3 rebounds, and the veteran has come up huge at different times this season for the Fever. Had a 26-point outing on the road against Atlanta, and that win for Indiana. Banham, long 3, she can connect, misses it. Hull rips down another one. Colson accelerating forward, dumps it off to Hull. Out a chance for the trailing 3. So whistle on the floor, a foul against Chicago. But it all comes down to this. See Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning now playing only in theaters. It's the 20th season for the Chicago Sky. I feel like Tom Cruise has been doing his thing longer than that with Mission Impossible.
No, seriously.
That foul was on Elizabeth Williams. So Williams now with just 1 personal. Here's Boston. Let's see if she can be a little bit more aggressive. Going against her former teammate, and that's going to be a travel. So now Boston with more turnovers than shot attempts here in the first half. Also for not getting knocked back with that contact. A lot of physicality down low. Atkins also scoreless so far. And Reese rips down the rebound. Pivoting Reese off the glass. A crucial 2 points for Chicago.
Beautiful patience by Angel Reese. You know she's going to grab the offensive board, but then the footwork and the physicality to find an angle and score around Natasha Howard, and that is a travel.
4 points, 4 boards for Reese, and back-to-back turnovers for the Fever.
The lead Angel Reese.
So tough to stop when she gathers and gets on balance.
When she's under control, and I think that's what she's been working on a lot. At least that's what I've seen from the games so far this season, is that when she's under control and set, she's good, and she's a good finisher.
Reese trying to get on balance, poked away by Mitchell. Some quick hands to interrupt the play. And now Boston rolling all the way down the floor, nearly goes coast to coast, gets her own miss. Fever working around. McDonald to Mitchell, spots up for 3. No good, rebound to Reese. Nurse up ahead, had Cardoso down low, missed the window.
She was wide open. Got to keep your head up. And that's that pace and ball movement that Tyler Marsh is talking about. Not so much ball movement, the ball going side to side, but the pace at which this team is passing the ball, he's emphasizing.
This set is slow to develop. Shot clock winding down. Cardoso has to put it up. The miss, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. And you saw Reese, a little miscommunication, beating the brakes off of Las Vegas early.
Man, gave it to the Aces.
And Becky Hammond admitted as well, too. They said, we took a thumping.
And obviously, you know, that's a bit of a personal game for someone like Kate Martin, who played for the Aces. Obviously, head coach Natalie Nakase, who was an assistant coach under Becky Hammond. So that meant a little something.
Golden State 3-4, the expansion Valkyries. An impressive start for them. And second foul on Banham. She checks out. Van Lith steps back onto the floor. Howard, Hull, Boston, Mitchell, and McDonald on the court for the Fever. McDonald with 6 points, flips it over to Boston. The pump fake. Defense collapses. Howard for 2. Fundamental for the Fever.
Natasha Howard has made a living in this league moving without the basketball, specifically that 45 cut.
Atkins fading away. Tough shooting night continues for her. Reese gathers it. Reese can't get it. Bopped away by Mitchell. And this time she's looking to go by the Sky defense. Boston works it around. Hull thought about the 3 for a moment. Now a little bit of traffic near the corner. Boston trying to be a safety valve. 8 to shoot. Boston this time working against Reese. Pivots, puts it up, and one opportunity. Aaliyah Boston clearing out all the traffic. So Indiana, 11-point lead. Second foul on Angel Reese, and the Fever.
The paint, all the defense collapse, and Howard just makes basketball.
Boston, the old-fashioned 3-point play, and now a 12-point advantage for Indiana. Keep in mind, Indiana had a 35-point victory to start the season against Chicago. In that game, the Sky shot their lowest field goal percentage of the season, and tonight they're just sitting at 31% from the field. Cardoso trying to change that. Cardoso muscles in the 2.
Cardoso at 6'7". Just has the size to be able to score over Aaliyah Boston.
She's 2 of 4 with 6 points. Here's Mitchell off the handoff. Pass inside, and they must have gotten the memo from you, Ice. They're starting to feed Aaliyah Boston a lot more. She picks up another foul.
Got to. You need to get high percentage looks. Really
foul is on Cardoso.
And I really loved what, you know, Kelsey Mitchell talked about. I actually asked Kelsey Mitchell how she felt like AB and her could connect more, and she said we got to be in the trenches.
Stream CBS Sports HQ, your free 24/7 snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. Catch highlights, in-depth analysis, and breaking news anywhere you are. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today. It's such a good point you bring up, Ice, because without Caitlin Clark on the court, Sophie Cunningham, also a very vocal leadership voice for the Fever. It's up to Mitchell. It's up to Boston to really rally this team right now.
I mean, they're the experienced squad. They play a ton of minutes. And in terms of a guard and post combination as well, they work hard together, but that was a much needed bucket. Kia Nurse from the outside.
Trims the lead to 8. Nurse has been sensational from beyond the arc. Now 9 for her last 20 in the last 4 games. Van Lith defending up top, tries to work around the screen. McDonald flips it over, ball movement, Hull in the corner. Oh, the passing is contagious for the Fever.
Those click passes, and it starts with Ari McDonald on the point guard position, creating the advantage, and then the next click pass. Lexi Hull, man, she's just been playing great basketball for the Fever this season.
Hull now with 6 points, has played 18 minutes here in the early going. McDonald pokes it away. 2-on-1 opportunity. Mitchell elevates, can't get it. Dot is right there on the rebound and picks up the foul. She cleans up the offensive glass. Dantas in her 10th WNBA season from Brazil was named to the Brazilian national team for the 2025 FIBA America Cup in late June. And we talk about another player that's just a veteran on this roster. A lot of offseason acquisitions for the Fever to bring in experience as this team has improved by leaps and bounds in just the last couple of seasons.
There's so much potential surrounding this roster, and scary when you're going to get everyone that's healthy and the chemistry is blended well together. But back to your point about Dantas, one of the great things about her game is that she stretches the floor. She adds to the three-point shooting of the Fever, which makes them so dangerous.
So a foul against Nurse as she was driving to the cup. They're going to whistle her for the offensive foul, trying to create some separation that gives the ball back to Indiana with 19.2. Here's one more look here, Ice. Ball foul, not an offensive foul, so free throws coming for Indiana because they're in the bonus. As Boston calmly hits the first one. And really it felt like for Indiana, as soon as they started feeding Boston a lot more, opened things up in the half court for them as she splits a pair.
Well, she's also going to create an advantage simply because they're sending multiple players at her. It's rare that Aaliyah Boston is one-on-one on the block.
Atkins still scoreless. Chicago can hold for the final shot of the half. Atkins step through, gets her first bucket of the game and a much needed time. 3.5 left. Mitchell screaming down the floor, a collision with Atkins, and let's see how they whistle this, because Mitchell and Atkins both a little slow to get up, but
shot up, not sure, but she draws the foul.
Mitchell skims that first one off the rim. 7 of the 8 players for the Fever that have played in this game have scored so far. So the depth certainly flexing its muscle as Mitchell, sitting on 8 points, tries to add one more and extend this lead to 13. And for point 3, you imagine Chicago will just inbound it. And so Indiana with 11 with the Fever bringing the ball down the floor. What do you want to continue to see from their offense?
I think just the balance between knocking down threes on the outside and then finding good high percentage looks on the inside. Continue to feed Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, but their offense really started to click there in that second quarter.
Howard, shot clock winding down, won't get a shot off. It's some terrific on-ball defense from Angel Reese.
That looks like imposing your will. That was the halftime message here. Angel Reese gets that quarter for the Sky.
First ever WNBA game at the United Center. And a terrific crowd on hand. Indiana without Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and their head coach Stephanie White, who's out for personal reasons. Austin Kelly filling in as the interim coach for tonight. He's been an assistant for Stephanie White over the last couple of years when she was at Connecticut. And listen, this crowd got here early. You see a mix of jerseys for both teams. It's just the continued growth of this league because of the young core that has really paired well with the established veterans in this league.
Oh, a tough, much needed bucket for Ariel Atkins, and hopefully that gets her going for Chicago.
Mitchell, a quick trigger, no good. Poked alive by Hull, tippy toes the half court line, able to save it. Colson dumps it off. Boston. That'll be knocked out of bounds. Indiana ball with 9 to shoot. How about Atkins getting an early bucket here in the second? And that's going to be a foul off the ball. It's whistled against Atkins, and that is her 3rd foul. So it's been a rather difficult game this evening for Atkins. She was coming off a 26-point performance. And up until the final seconds of the first.
The main perimeter scorer for Chicago. And so thankfully for Chicago, they've gotten sparks from their bench. Beck Allen, Elizabeth Williams. Ariel Atkins got to some of her normal spots in the first half, was just not able to knock down shots, but I'd like to see her start this half continuing to be aggressive, and she's already knocked down one.
Of course, the one free throw, the foul before the ball was inbounded, and now they get it to Mitchell, who has to whip it over to Boston. Colson has an open 3, no good, rebound to Reese. She's now got 7. So for the Sky, the half-court offense, we saw it get a little jumbled up. How do they create more space?
At first, just ball movement, player movement, running your set. See, I like that there. That's a curl action to get Camila Cardoso the ball. She just took too many steps. But that action, setting a diagonal screen, getting her to curl on one side.
So it's the 13th turnover for Chicago. And you want to impose your will. You also want to clean up some of the things that you can control.
That was number 3 on my notes for halftime adjustments. Limit turnovers. You have to get a shot up every time down the floor.
5 to shoot. Colson trying to dance with Van Lith. Van Lith just stuffs that at the peak and then feeds it down floor to Reese.
Great defense by Van Lith. Really nice anticipation. Here she goes backdoor, but not able to connect with Angel Reese, and I thought Reese might have forced that just a bit. It's a good cut by Haley Van Lith. She's trying to get out and clear space. If it's not wide open, reverse the basketball, run your offense.
Van Lith getting the second half start. Courtney Vandersloot early in this game left with a right knee injury. She has not been told if she's going to return or not, but did not look good as she walked up the court, couldn't put weight on it. Oh, in the corner. Continues to pour it in, the league's second most efficient three-point shooter.
And more beautiful ball movement, inside-out action. Lexi Hull is lethal from the corners.
She's got 9. Reese this time. Things clear out for her. Blocked by Howard. Sent out of bounds. It'll be Chicago ball with 11 to shoot. 15 points, largest lead of the game for Indiana. The Fever had that opening win against Chicago by 35. Since then, their last 6 games by combined 24 points. Atkins sets her feet for a 3. Reese, offensive rebound. Van Lith, the pop-a shot, rolls it in.
And that is growth and maturity from Angel Reese. Last year, she would have tried to go right back up and maybe have gotten her shot blocked. Instead, she just spin pivot, sees behind her, and dishes it off to Van Lith.
Boston just boxed that in off the miss, and so Aaliyah Boston now with 9 points, 3 of 5 from the field. Here's Nurse fighting through Hull. Cross-court pass to Van Lith. Cardoso works it back out to Nurse, 11 to shoot. Reese this time, size advantage against Hull, draws 2. Nurse has a chance for a triple. Off the front of the rim, Howard claims it. Here's Mitchell trying to attack Van Lith, will slow it down a bit. This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago like the winds off of Lake Michigan. Timeout Sky as Indiana has built a 17-point advantage. So the Fever starting to find
on this team. But what we're seeing is that because there's no ball-dominant guard, the ball is actually moving a little bit faster. It's clicking more because everyone is helping each other find their next opportunity.
That's what Lexi Hull said. We had to learn how to create our own opportunities. The offense starts to move a little bit more, and now they're adjusting to that. Reese fights for the ball, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. And credit the Fever defense. And Austin Kelly mentioned we've got to work on our backside defense and our pick and roll coverage. Saw some excellent defensive rotations right there.
Yeah, the help is there. Everyone rotated correctly. You can see the pointing and the communication is on point. And for Chicago, you might just need to go a little bit earlier in the shot clock when you're trying to run that set.
Mitchell for 3. Hull scampers over and scoops up the loose rock.
She just wants it more.
Colson flips it back to Boston. Boston rolls in the mid-range jumper, and that's what she's been working on in the offseason.
Her jump shot looks tremendous. Her feel on the short roll versus rolling all the way to the basket looks tremendous. Haley Van Lith, though, said, let me get in here real quick.
The distinction of going to the Elite 8 5 different times in college. Started LSU alongside Angel Reese for 1 year, Louisville and TCU this past season. Clutch three-point play to help Chicago dig into this deficit just a little bit. Here's Boston poked away from behind. Shot clock is at 6. Mitchell will have to hurry. Atkins defending, flips a pass back to Howard, launches a 3. Oh, the connection to Howard splashes the triple.
Great awareness by the Fever, but that's a mental mistake for Angel Reese. The shot clock is winding down. You got to close out with the hand up. Her hands were down, and Howard knocked it down, and that is a travel.
Reese drags the pivot foot, gives the ball back to Indiana. But Indiana now 6 of 14 from beyond the arc for 43%. Chicago gives up a league high 42% from 3. McDonald has to chase down the loose rock. Gets it back from Howard. McDonald poked away by Reese. 5 to shoot. And Indiana will inbound it from an awkward spot on the court.
And that two-man game, pitch and play action, especially with a step-up screen on the wing, is really what the Fever worked on earlier in shoot-around.
Shot clock winding down. Boston has to hoist it up, and that is excellent defense for those final 5 seconds by the Sky. Really used the sideline as an extra defender.
And that might give them just a little momentum they need. Oftentimes when you're down by a deficit as large as this, you got to break the game up into smaller sections. I like to think stop, score, stop. If you can do that 2 times in a row, you've gone on a little bit of a run, and you try to build onto that. Chicago just got to take it possession by possession.
You're hoping Atkins can find a little bit more of her role that she's had the last couple of games, and this time it bounces out of bounds. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Well, let's take a look at the CarMax Never Settle Player Spotlight. And
talk with Coach Kelly about her, and he said just for Aaliyah's ability, she's been able just to step in and take over the offense in multiple areas, and how she's just got such a great feel for the game. He also told us, and we just saw her try to shoot a 3, that he would like her to do more of that she put in the work this offseason, and they would love to see her knock them down. I know you guys would too.
I love that report, Tiff, because what would make Aaliyah Boston more dangerous than what she is already, shooting 67% from the field, is for her to be able to knock down the 3 consistently. And if you know anything about the bigs that come out of South Carolina, they get better each and every year. I have no doubt that in the next 2 seasons, she'll be knocking down the 3.
Here's McDonald in transition, bodies Banham and picks up the foul. So McDonald has been a value deal right now for the Fever, coming off the bench. Had 5 assists in her last game, and it's a season high for her. And listen, you come in on a hardship deal, you put up 9 points. There are going to be a lot of teams looking for a hardship point guard, because when any of the players, either Cunningham or Clark, come back, they cannot keep McDonald because of salary cap restrictions. And that's just the reality of this league and how you put rosters together sometimes. As we have a foul right now, to the disbelief of the Fever. It's going to be whistled against Mitchell for Chicago. 22-point lead for Indiana at the moment. Van Lit trying to pry free McDonald, glued on her right now. Atkins, contested triple. High rebound, and that's going to trickle out of bounds and be Chicago ball. McDonald just nothing but smiles, because you can play loose and free in this situation when you know, listen, I'm not going to be on this team for the long term right now. I just need to go out there and prove myself to the league at this moment that I can still hoop.
And to be quite honest, with the career that Ari McDonald has had in the W, she's proven. I'm surprised that she is not on someone's roster. But like you said, partner, I don't think that will be the case for long. I think someone else in the league will need to pick up an experienced guard that has a high motor and that blends well in any system. I've seen her play with the Sparks, seen her play with the Fever. You would think right.
WNBA national TV schedule Tuesday on ESPN. You've got Chicago at New York. Wednesday on CBS Sports Network. Los Angeles takes on Las Vegas. And then Friday, a doubleheader on ION. Chicago at Atlanta. Dallas at Las Vegas. For more of these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. 1 of 2 at the free throw line for Williams. Bonner back into the game for the Fever. Hole just trying to get free, and then she's going to be fouled. She was chasing down the ball, and they're going to get Becca Allen. First foul on Allen. But McDonald, in the way that she's just fit seamlessly into this offense, really stands out. Bonner will line up a 3. Oh, the sky is falling in Chicago. The Fever now lead by 24.
DB had been a little bit quiet.
Williams chases down the miss. Banham look to reset the offense. A mean screen set by Williams. Banham back over to Atkins. Hall intercepts it. 2-on-2 opportunity. McDonald trailing, lines it up. That would have been a backbreaker, but now Atkins a little slow after the...
About the message that they were delivering to their players. I just watched Kia Nurse get up and say to this group, we have to play together. We have no other choice. So she's trying to push this team to rally back.
Williams trying to get them back in there. That shot attempt no good, and a lot of hustle to get the ball back as McDonald zooms down the court. Bonner another 3 just off the back, and that's going to be a foul off the ball as Dantas was knocked out of bounds.
Better. An opportunity to build chemistry, to fight through adversity. A reminder that they're playing without their point guard and Courtney Vandersloot. So things are already out of whack. And then the Fever aren't letting up.
I was about to say, Kelsey Mitchell's not out of whack right now. She hits the corner 3. Mitchell with 15 points. It's a game high and has really carried the torch. And that is a big-time collision between Bonner and Allen as she crumbles to the floor. Helped up to her feet by Williams. Bonner going to be whistled for the foul ball when we come back. Knicks and now Chicago, and we were kind of surprised to hear that because you've got some size, you've got a very smooth jumper. Should be able to find a long-term home here in the W.
For sure. She's a versatile player and really one of those glue players where I think you can insert her in different systems and she still be successful. But it helps the Sky to have that veteran leadership. I think with the Sky, it's just two ends of the spectrum, right? There are players who are in their 10th, 11th, and 12th season, and then there are players.
And so the rebound there by Mitchell, she is fouled and sent to the floor. And so Kelsey Mitchell is now in the line. And Tiffany, Kelsey Mitchell, we've talked so much more about her, and we had a great conversation earlier today as well.
We did, and it's good to see her up, hitting down free throws. She told us that she can be the glue stick much as the cornerstone of this team and been through the highs and lows, guys, so they can always lean on Kelsey Mitchell when they need to. Yeah,
second overall pick in 2018 by the Fever in her 7th season, 14th all-time in made threes, back-to-back all-star appearances, and has really helped this team weather the absence of Caitlin Clark, where they're essentially thriving over the last couple of games. Banham able to pick up the loose change and deposit it.
And for Kelsey Mitchell, the time that she spent in Indiana, up until recently, she didn't have vets. She didn't have a lot of older guards on the team who could teach her the ways of the W. She had to figure it out, is what she told us. But she's thankful this year to have DeWanna Bonner, to have the voice of DeWanna Bonner in her 15th season, be able to lead, to support them. And I just thought it was so awesome to hear someone who's had tremendous success in this league in her 8th year, but is still looking for that veteran leadership to fill the gap.
So Dantas will step to the free throw line and hits the first one. And everyone talked about the depth for Indiana coming into the season. They made such a leap last year, of course, with Caitlin Clark leading the league in assists, setting a single-season assist record. The growth and development of Boston and what she was able to do in her sophomore campaign. And now you add depth and experience around a team that started off 1-8 and then made the playoffs. Many people feel they're in that echelon of teams that can contend for a title, but you also realize there's still some experience that needs to be earned with this roster.
Yeah,
Wainwright with the travel.
One of my favorite W writers, Cass Negley for Yahoo Sports, and working with her, and she said recently that in order to win a WNBA championship, you need to experience heartbreak. You need to get close enough to experience the heartbreak to be propelled then to win. And I think all the conversation around the Indiana Fever and the potential of this roster is to win a WNBA championship.
And all the greats have to do that. There's a man that won 6 titles in this building for an NBA team that had to get past an opponent in Detroit, as Howard right there at the rim misses the heartbreaker but follows it up with 2 more. 8.2 seconds left. Chicago will get one more look. Williams brings it down the floor. Tries to usher it past Howard, kicks it out. Allen for 3 at the horn. Bounces out, so Indiana with
my nose, her eyes a little bit glassy, so I don't know if she'll be going back in this game, guys.
Never a fun place to take some contact, and you look at the advantage right now, 29 points for Indiana. The Fever are going to start a stretch of 5 road games in their next 7 games. Clark will be evaluated tomorrow, part of that 2-week time off that she took as Banham beats the buzzer for the Lamb. But for Clark, we'll get more news on her status moving forward. Cunningham still has a little bit more time with that ankle. It's important to note with Clark, that quad injury is different than the injury that she had in the preseason. That was a little bit higher up on the same leg, but not the same injury. Turnover forced by the Sky. They come down and forces Banham. Looking for another bucket. Can't get the 3. Reese with the board. Banham this time. Galloping towards the cup. Can't get it. Boston with the rebound. Her 5th of the game. We talked about the shot attempts for Boston. She's sitting at 7, 4 of 7. You'd still like to see that number higher.
I don't think it should ever be under 12.
McDonald can't connect on the 3, and Reese has now got 10 rebounds. The league's leading rebounder continues to improve upon that stature.
Oh, it has been a tough evening for Ariel Atkins. That time goes back door, finally gets free, but is called for the offensive.
Yeah, you mentioned the difficult night. Had 26 points in their win against Dallas tonight, just 2 of 11 with 4 points and 4 fouls.
She's had to try and create a lot of her offense on her own, with also having a tough defensive task and guarding Kelsey Mitchell at times. And DeWanna Bonner
feathers in the 3 from the corner, and she has flourished in these games without Clark. Whatever the correlation is, she's averaging over 14 points a game when she was under 4 points a game in the first 4 games that Clark was playing. Banham, a 3, skips off the rim. Bonner the rebound, and Bonner, the league's 3rd all-time leading scorer. In fact, top 10 in 3 different categories, and made 3s, rebounds, and points.
Has been a staple of this league for so long. Oh, good pass.
Howard clobbered down low by Cardoso, but an excellent find by McDonald.
And you start to think about the feet.
Indiana had a season-high 11 threes in their win over Washington. They're at 9 right now, and McDonald going to be whistled for the foul as she sent Atkins reeling towards the baseline.
A little delayed call, too.
Borderline, though. That was almost a separation. I think we're all waiting for the highlight after that. Atkins whips it over to Reese. Reese inside to Cardoso, who's been rather quiet for the majority of this game. Reese deflected down low. Nice find outside. 3-pointer off target. Chicago now 2 of 13 from beyond the arc. Colson over to Howard as Bonner will initiate this offensive set. You just notice the spacing and the movement for Indiana. Just everything in sync right now as Howard fouled down low.
And I like to think that the spacing for the Fever is so. Court players are extremely versatile, therefore they can pop or roll at any time and go where the space is open.
It goes back to, it takes time to adjust playing without Clark because of the gravity she has on the floor and the fact that she does so much with the ball in her hands and leading the league in assists. And now that they've had a couple of games and some more practices under their belt, as Boston blows by, easy pass, Howard blocked from behind. Atkins comes over to save the possession.
Good, great effort from Ariel Atkins.
Banham gets a great screen from Cardoso, who gets fouled by Boston. So the 2 South Carolina teammates, just like they used to all those years in practice, go shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, that's been a fun matchup to watch for sure.
Keep in mind with Clark, she has not missed significant playing time for several years in her career. And keep this also as of note, no MVP in league history has missed more than 3 games. This is now her 4th game she has missed. And so many people thought she'd be in that MVP race. Nafisa Collier has something else to say about that right now on the early going.
Man,
but you got to be on the floor in order to get that recognition. But of course, long season,
yeah,
with that long-term health.
And only 6 or 7 games in, you want to make sure that you are healthy. And this is an awesome opportunity for Cece to be able to learn and to see the game from a vantage point that she hasn't seen it in a very long time, which is on the bench, on the sideline.
And another foul, and Chicago is frustrated with the officials right now as Cardoso trying to plead her case and even navigating that quick transition that so many rookies do.
We did get to talk with Coach Kelly about Caitlin being out as well as Sophie, and he said he needs them to continue to bring the energy from the bench, and that's what I've observed during this game. Them getting up, telling players what they're seeing, high-fiving, being really supportive and vocal to keep this team going.
Checking into this game, trying to fight for the rebound is Brianna Turner as Colson almost beat the buzzer. Still a 28-point advantage for Indiana. Again, doing this game without their head coach Stephanie White out for personal reasons. No Clark, no Cunningham. Yet still in control of this one.
They do not look like they have missed a beat. They've been on one accord all night.
Maddie Westbell, the rookie from Notre Dame, in the game right now for Chicago, and McDonald will chase down the rebound. So it feels like now the Fever have found their identity without Clark, but they're going to have to adjust when she comes back, and that's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, but I actually think they're going to be better than ever because of the ball and player movement that has happened without her on the floor. Lexi Hull told us the hardest thing about not having Clark on the floor is that obviously she accounts for so much offense, but what they have worked on as a team is those cuts off the basketball, making more cuts, making better reads to have a higher offensive output.
Williams sticks the midi. Nice offensive flow right there for the Sky, and that's what they talked about. We need to see more player movement, more ball movement. When that ball whips around, that's when we're playing our best.
Yeah, they're just figuring it out. Their backup point guard, Haley Van Lith, is a rookie, so she's still trying to adjust to the game. Obviously, without Courtney Vandersloot, you kind of play point guard by committee a bit, which is what we've seen. We've seen Rachel Banham, Haley Van Lith bring up the ball, even Beck Allen at times. And
both teams with some timeouts, and I will say I had to use Instacart today to keep feeding my hungry boys. So thank you, Instacart, as Chicago now with some of the younger players on the floor. Just trying to get those looks, that game action right. You can go back and evaluate the film, but a tough look there for Onion Webber. Bonner, long pass to her, trying to shield the defense, and it'll go out of bounds. Be Chicago ball. And so this game, part of the Commissioner's Cup, 36 total games across the league, will face off at the top seeded team's place, and the winner will get a chance to play for over $500,000. And over the last 3 years, the winners, if you look at the Lynx, the Liberty, and the Aces, have played in the WNBA Finals. The Aces, the only team to win both in one season.
Yeah, it has become such a fun competition to watch. One, because players are playing for the bag, so you know it's a little bit more to it than just bragging rights or winning a game in the regular season. I think the second thing too is it's the only time in WNBA where we care about the East and the West, where we care about the regions, and so it's fun competing against the other side of the league.
Well, Jalen Suggs, guard for the Orlando Magic, boyfriend of Haley Van Lith, obviously cares about her here courtside, watching her play. And as you look at what Van Lith has been able to do with the extended time, a chance to showcase what she's got, and now you're the backup point guard that becomes the starting point guard for the Sky. And a nice three from outside for West Bell. That's why they drafted her, has a silky smooth touch from beyond the arc. And a timeout, Indiana. Chicago's made this a 21-point game, but the young players for the Sky have shown some fight late in this one. That's 5:02, so the majority of this fourth quarter, the Fever have not been able to get a single point. That was why you saw Austin Kelly call the timeout. You don't want to relax too much down the stretch. McDonald, nice by Dantis, deflected as Williams sent the orange out of bounds.
Yeah, great recovery from Williams.
4 to shoot for the Fever. Turner up top. Turner has to step back. Great rotation. Can't sink the jumper. Williams with the rebound. And now Chicago can extend this run. Just under 3 minutes left in this ball game. This is the second of 5 meetings this season between the two teams. McDonald pokes it away, then tapped up down the floor, and McDonald will slow things down. McDonald for 3, cashes in.
Survival mode looks really fun. I gotta say.
12 points now for McDonald, and used to seeing Survivors on CBS, by the way.
You're quick with it, partner.
Here's West Bell, the drive, picks up the foul, and how about her as a prospect? 6'3", but has those guard-like skills to put the ball on the floor and get her shot up. Very intriguing for the Sky there.
I loved Maddie West Bell's game in college. She's a high IQ forward player, a willing passer, sees the floor very well. And as we've seen already, can knock down shots on the outside. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts to get a little bit more time here as the season goes on. I think she can provide some really good minutes for Chicago. I'll tell you another thing as well. I mean, we talk so much about Beck Allen and what she's been able to bring in. She's been a spark off the bench, but you could argue that the way in which she's been competing for the Sky, she deserves to start the basketball game for them. I think that veteran leadership and experience starting the game, really important in the W.
Michaela Timpson checking in for the Fever, getting her first run of the night with 2 minutes remaining. 6 to shoot. Colson will launch one, and the three-pointers continue to fall for the Fever. They've now tied their season high with 11 now in back-to-back games.
2 minutes left. I mean, it's the ball movement, it's the confidence, but a lot of these shots are catch and shoot in rhythm. If you're a shooter, that's exactly what you want. Oh,
and
good
Liz
defense.
trying to create separation, ripped away by McDonald.
Ari McDonald, she's so low to the ground. She's got quick hands.
McDonald, the recipient. Just off target on that three. Timpson trying to keep it alive. It'll be Chicago ball as Westbell brings it down the floor. Chicago right now sitting at 2-4 on the season. Most likely move to 2-5. And
I mean, that is the identity of this Fever team. They play with pace and they knock down threes.
they're actually hitting more threes per game in the absence of Caitlin Clark than when she was on the floor. And now a foul as Colson's trying to split a pair of Sky players. And one thing that needs to be mentioned too is the shoulders and the slow start for this team. The fact that you've got some veterans to now share and carry that load. And we had talked to Caitlin in the last game that they played against New York, and she mentioned, I've just got to continue to be confident and believe in the work that I put in, but it's nice now knowing I belong, I've proven myself, and I feel comfortable. And beating the shot clock is Turner, so a terrific job there. And as we get set to close out this game, a historic one, the first ever primetime network televised regular season game. We would love to just thank our terrific crew in the truck that has been here for a couple of days and has gotten things set up. Today's game was produced by Deb Bullock and directed by Corey Fishman. The associate directors are Justin Haley and Kid J. Theano. Broadcast associates of tonight's game are Heather Silver and Lawrence Goss. The technical manager, Jerry Wetzel, and technical director, Griffin Jacob, and the audio supervisor is Ryan Miller. They put this together. History made tonight on network television in prime time as the Fever now just 4.1 seconds away from winning, and they are set to go 5 of the last 6 against Chicago. And Austin Kelly getting a win in his debut. That's her final, 79-52. The Fever improved to 4-4, 2-2.